My son told me I wasn't welcome for Christmas. Those were his exact words. No stutter. No hesitation. Just a cold dismissal that cut deeper than a knife. Dad, this year it's just going to be me, Claire, and the kids. We think it'll be simpler. Simpler. That word echoed in my ears long after the call ended. Simpler meant one thing: life without me in it. I sat alone in my quiet house, staring at the empty chair where my wife, Maria, used to sit. She passed years ago, but she would have never believed this. Michael was her pride, her joy, her reason for working double shifts and pinching pennies. And now, the very boy she sacrificed for was shutting me out of his life. Maria and I had built everything for him. I broke my back in steel mills while she scrubbed floors and ironed clothes for wealthier families. We skipped vacations, ate leftovers for days, and saved every dime. Why? So Michael could rise higher than us. So he could go to college, so he could wear a suit instead of steel-toed boots. And he did. Michael became a lawyer. He married Claire, a woman with money and polished manners, the kind who wore pearls even to the grocery store. From day one, she made it clear that Maria and I didn't quite fit her world. She smiled politely, but her eyes said it all: "You're not good enough for my family." I ignored it. For Michael's sake, I swallowed every insult, every look of quiet disgust. But Claire didn't just tolerate me, she worked to erase me. And Michael, blinded by love or pride, let her. That Christmas rejection was the breaking point. For years I told myself, he'll come around. He'll remember what we did for him. He'll realize family matters more than appearances. But as I sat in the dim light of my living room, Maria's photo staring back at me, reality hit hard. I wasn't part of Michael's family anymore. I was just a burden. A ghost from a past he wanted to bury. And that night, grief hardened into something else. Anger. A slow, burning anger that whispered one thing in my ear. He took everything I gave him. It's time to take it back. The morning after Michael's rejection, I woke up with a decision burning in my chest. For years, I'd been his safety net. When he bought that big suburban house, who co-signed the mortgage? Me. When he couldn't afford the down payment, who wired the money? Me again. Every month since, I'd quietly covered the shortfalls. His lifestyle looked perfect on the outside: shiny cars in the driveway, country club membership, the kids in private schools. But the truth? It was all propped up by me. Maria used to say, "As long as he's happy, it's worth it." And I believed that, until Michael's happiness meant erasing me. So I drove to the bank. The same one where my name still sat proudly on those papers. And with one signature, I pulled the plug. I withdrew my co-signature and cancelled every safety I had ever given him. From that moment on, Michael stood on his own. No more hidden checks from me. No more bills quietly paid behind the scenes. At first, it felt almost petty. But then, it felt right. Like lifting a weight off my shoulders I'd carried far too long. That weekend, I drove past his house just once. The lawn was perfectly trimmed, Claire's luxury SUV sparkled in the driveway, and laughter drifted from the backyard. They were hosting one of their polished little gatherings again. I watched from my old pickup, invisible, and thought, enjoy it while you can. Because everything you built is sitting on sand. But karma doesn't work fast enough on its own. And I wasn't planning to wait years for the cracks to show. The first real crack came sooner than expected. Michael called me, not to apologize, not to ask me over, but to demand. "Dad, the bank's on my case about some payments. Did you mess with the account?" His tone wasn't curious. It was accusatory, sharp, like I was an employee who'd failed him. I let the silence hang, then said flatly, "Michael, you're a grown man. Handle it yourself." The disbelief in his voice was almost funny. "You can't just back out. Do you know what this does to me?" I almost told him the truth right then, that it was time he learned what real struggle felt like. But instead I simply repeated, "Handle it yourself," and hung up. That night, I sat with Maria's picture again. I whispered, "I'm sorry, love. But you'd see it too now. He's not the boy we raised. He's the man who betrayed us both. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about teaching him that you can't throw away family like trash and expect life to keep rewarding you. I didn't know it yet, but that single decision, the mortgage, the money, was only the beginning. Michael's perfect little world was about to start collapsing piece by piece. And I was going to make sure of it. It didn't take long for the shine to wear off Michael's world. Without my quiet support, the bills began stacking up. The whispers at his fancy gatherings started too, neighbors noticing the little things. A payment missed here, a new car delayed there. But the first real humiliation came in the unlikeliest of places. The airport. I was flying out to see an old army buddy. Nothing special, just two old men sharing stories and whiskey. As I stood in line at security, I heard a sharp, familiar laugh. I turned, and there they were, Michael, Claire, and her sister, Isabella. First-class tickets in hand, dressed to the nines like royalty passing through commoners. For a moment my heart softened. I thought maybe Michael would wave, call me over, pretend I still mattered. But Isabella saw me first. And the look she gave me, pure poison. She nudged Claire, whispered something, and they both laughed. Michael didn't even glance my way. Not once. When we boarded, they strolled past me with their champagne glasses. I was crammed into economy, knees jammed against the seat in front. Isabella made sure to slow down as she passed, leaned close enough for me to hear, and hissed. "Maria would be ashamed, you know. Seeing you like this. Pathetic. Alone." Then she smiled like it was the funniest joke in the world and glided into first class. My chest burned with rage. Mentioning Maria, my Maria, was a line no one crossed. Not in jest. Not in cruelty. For the rest of that flight, I sat stone still, gripping the armrests until my knuckles turned white. Passengers around me probably thought I was afraid of flying. But no. I wasn't afraid. I was planning. By the time we landed, I'd made a decision. This wasn't going to be quiet anymore. I wasn't just cutting financial strings. I was going to rip the mask off Michael's perfect life in front of everyone he cared about impressing. And fate handed me the perfect weapon. You see, Michael's whole image, his job, his status, his invitations to galas and fundraisers, was built on reputation. Clean, polished, respectable. But behind the scenes I knew the truth. The missed payments. The silent debts. The cracks in his carefully painted facade. So I called in a few favors. Old friends in local media, people who still remembered the dentist who once gave them quotes during union strikes at the mill. I didn't need to make up lies. The truth was enough. Within weeks, stories began floating. A respected lawyer, struggling to keep up appearances. Whispers of foreclosure. Clients wondering why checks were bouncing. Michael's phone must have rung off the hook. I know, because one night, he called me again. But this time, the anger in his voice was gone. It was panic. "Dad, I don't know what's happening. These stories, they're ruining me. If you know something, please help me." For a long time, I didn't say anything. Just listened to the fear in his voice. Then I said, "Now you know how it feels, Michael. To be discarded. To be humiliated. To be unwanted." And before he could respond, I hung up. For the first time in years, I slept soundly that night. But I wasn't finished. Not even close. The final blow was yet to come. Christmas Eve. For years, it had been Maria's favorite night. She'd light candles, hum carols while cooking, and make sure every chair at the table was filled. Family was everything to her. And that night, I decided to honor her, in my own way. Michael and Claire were hosting their annual Christmas dinner. The kind of event where every detail was staged. White linens, crystal glasses, neighbors whispering about promotions and vacations to Europe. Isabella, of course, was there too, draped in jewels that probably cost more than my truck. I wasn't invited. But I came anyway. The room froze when I walked in. Forks clinked against plates, and conversations died mid-sentence. Claire's smile tightened like a rope around her throat. Michael's face went pale. Dad, he started. This isn't a good time. But I raised my hand calm and steady. Relax. I didn't come to eat. I came to talk. The silence was deafening. Dozens of polished eyes followed me as I pulled a stack of papers from my coat pocket. Bank statements. Mortgage slips. Payment records with my name tied to every single one. I laid them down on the tablecloth, right in front of Michael's dinner plate. For years, this house, this life, this image you've all admired, it wasn't his. It was mine. Built on my back. Funded by my sweat. Gasps rippled through the room. Isabella shifted uncomfortably, but her smirk faltered. Michael tried to laugh it off. Dad, this isn't the place. But I cut him off. My voice carried like a hammer on steel. No, Michael. This is exactly the place. Because these people you're so desperate to impress, they deserve to know the truth. That your suits are pressed with borrowed money. That your house stands on foundations you didn't earn. That every toast you've ever made here was poured with wine I paid for. Claire's face flushed red. Guests whispered. Someone coughed awkwardly. Michael slammed his fist on the table. Enough! You're humiliating me! I leaned closer, my voice low, sharp, final. No, son! You humiliated yourself when you turned your back on the man who gave you everything. When you banned me from this very table. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then I gathered the papers, tucked them back into my coat, and walked out. The air outside was cold, but it felt cleaner than anything inside that house. 2 months later, the foreclosure notice went public. Michael's house, his prized symbol of success, was auctioned off. His clients fled. His so-called friends stopped returning his calls. And Claire? She left, taking the kids and whatever dignity she had left. Michael came to me once more, broken, hollow. His eyes were bloodshot, his hands trembling. Dad, please. I don't know what to do. I studied him for a long time. The proud, polished lawyer was gone. All that remained was the scared boy Maria and I once raised. And I told him the truth. Son, I'll always love you. But love doesn't mean saving you from the consequences of your choices. You turned your back on family. Now you know what that costs. I turned, walked back inside my quiet home, and closed the door. For the first time in years, I felt Maria's presence beside me. Not in sorrow. Not in regret. But in peace. My son had wanted a world without me. And now, he finally had it.